The saying may go that great minds think alike, but true innovation happens when great minds work together. That was the idea behind JEA Innovate, hosted by the Energy Authority.
AI is here, and if you're not using it, you're going to get behind really quickly.
8 teams of JEA employees were each challenged to take a real-world problem and use AI to solve it or make the work more efficient.
The best way to get familiar with it is to actually use it for a practical reason, and so events like this are the best way to make that happen.
The teams were made up of employees across JEA departments.
It really is breaking down silos. People are understanding better how people are addressing the challenges within their business unit.
And they were up against the clock. Just 7 hours to develop their idea, build a prototype, and present it to the judges.
My capital and O&M solution will be completely different.
Well, I agree, but let's give it a shot.
From procurement to data collection, compliance, and budgets, the topics were diverse, but each team delivered. Groups were given 10 minutes to explain and then demo their AI app.
We're calling it our budget buddy.
Demonstrating real-world ways these tools could improve day-to-day tasks. The strong ideas made for a tough decision by the judges.
All of these ideas were excellent. And the moment you've all been waiting for, the winner of the first ever JEA AI Innovation Challenge, but not the last, just the first, real estate documents.
The team developed an AI-powered research assistant to quickly surface answers and pull associated legal documents.
We didn't know how much we could get done in 7 hours. We thought it was a short time frame, but with the amount of help with the AI assistant, it was just great.
Because when great minds come together and technology meets teamwork, innovation doesn't just happen, it accelerates.
I definitely hope there's a lot more of this in the future.
JEA, building community.
We're going to Conway, South Carolina. We're sending 6 total crews with 40 linemen. But we feel mutual aid is important because you're actually sowing seeds. You can go and help somebody, and then when it comes time when you need help, they're willing to lend that helping hand back to you. And living in Florida, we're always in need of help come hurricane season normally. We do the best we can with the snow and the ice since we don't get much practice in that arena down here in Florida. But we've operated in those conditions before. The main difference is going to be that you're cold instead of sweating and hot. But we go prepared, and then we always take us an extra jacket or two for us Florida boys so we can stay warm.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. And first, let's pause for a time of reflection. And if I could, just 2 things. Obviously, the severe weather, especially with the communities in Nashville, Oxford, and some in Kentucky and Louisiana, and our crews that are employed helping folks in need of the power. And then also just for a quick, successful recovery for Ricky Erickson, too, as he recovers from his injuries. Okay, thank you. And could I have a motion to adopt the agenda, please? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, and let's go with the safety briefing. Brandon, please.
Yes, good morning, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Brandon Edwards. I'm the Director of Security and Emergency Preparedness for JEA. For those of us participating downtown, in the event of an emergency, our JEA security will contact 911 and coordinate any required evacuation. If the emergency requires an evacuation, safely exit through one of the 2 marked exits. In this meeting area, you can either exit the building through the Pearl Street main entrance or the Monroe Street exit to the left of the American flag. We'll assemble in front of the Duval County Courthouse located in the northwest corner of Adams and Clay Street. If anyone needs medical assistance or help with safely evacuating, please notify a nearby JEA security officer. Please always be aware of the potential trip hazards in and around your respective areas. And lastly, please remember to keep your cell phones on silent and laptops on mute. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Brandon. Okay, and comments from the public. Okay. None heard. Okay. And Council Member Ron Salem, please, sir.
I have no comments. Thank you, though.
Okay, thank you. And let me turn it over to Vicki for her CEO comments.
Good morning. I want to review what we've been up to since we last met in November. Just after the board meeting, we hosted the 5K Turkey Trot to benefit our Neighbor to Neighbor program and had over 175 employees and guests either participate in person or virtually. And we raised $7,300 for our Neighbor to Neighbor fund, which helps our customers who cannot pay their bill. We also hosted a military and veterans food drive, food and hygiene drive. This was spearheaded when the government shutdown hit, and Dr. Charles Moreland had an idea to have a competition among chiefs, among each chief section to collect food and hygiene products. And we collected over 6,300 pounds and donated it. And first place, of course, went to Charles, because he was pushing his team hard. And then second place, Ted and the finance team.
We're auditing those results, right, as we speak.
It was a fabulous, fabulous showing of support for our community. This is such a beautiful thing. If you have not seen this painting that we were honored to allow on one of our pump stations, which is at the underneath the Fuller Warren Bridge, where they had the Riverside Arts Market and the skateboard park across the way. It was unveiled on December 12th. It was done in coordination with RAP, Riverside Avondale Preservation. I can't say enough about how beautiful this is, turning infrastructure into art. And Patrick Maxey, who is from Jacksonville, but travels the world doing murals, I believe this is his first large piece here in Jacksonville, his hometown. So it's just wonderful. Next up, happy to say that we had our collective bargaining agreements passed by City Council, 4 of them on January the 13th, recognizing our team there in the photo. So those are in existence for 3 years until September 30th of 28. We have one left, Liuna, and we continue to work with them in good faith and hope to bring that to fruition soon. This is a new program that we have started. I think all the board members know how beneficial it is to go and see our facilities. So we came up with an employees tour program to educate employees and let them see other areas they don't work in, to help them understand what other parts of the business do. We're also going to add a DES tour to this very soon. I have to recognize this came as a suggestion from AJ Soto, our treasurer. AJ took his team to go see Brandy Branch, the combined cycle, in anticipation of our new project, and wanted them to see what they were going to be working on as far as the financing, and it had a huge impact. And he suggested that we start this, and we did. So Diane and her team put it together. I appreciate it very much. Next up, let's watch this.
So guys,
come on.
Here we go, here we go. Nice and clean, like smooth. Stay in there. Get it, let's get it. Good job, good job. Go, Jacob. Go, Jay. Nice and clean, nice and smooth.
All right.
There you go. Nice and clean, nice and clean. Here we go. You got this, you got this. Stay on it, stay in it, stay in it. Good run, good run. Come on, Jacob. Doing good, Jacob, doing good, Jacob. Good, Jay. Looking good.
Come on.
Got this. Looking good. Get up, let's get it.
Now you see why we have a gym at Pearl Street. I would like to invite the Water Boys and all the other people that competed from November 30th to December 3rd of this year. Would you please come to the front along with your director, Jackie Shield? And I think that was, and the customer folks, come on up, the meter folks. So I won't repeat too much, but you saw that the Water Boys won first place. Tim, Jacob, and John. Congratulations. We also had two individual competitors win. Luke Bios in the meter department. He actually works under Dr. Moreland's area. Luke, raise your hand for me. Luke won 2 years in a row, 2024 and 2025, for his first place in Meter Madness. So that's great. He's holding his trophy that has his name on there twice as the state winner. And then Gilberto Garcia, also from the meter group, won second place. So we took first and second. So not only is our wastewater team good, but so is our water team. And last but not least, Sammy Howard, big smiling Sammy Howard, won the backhoe. Look at him, I'm not kidding. Won the backhoe rodeo competition. Jackie told me, do you see the tennis ball on top of that cone? And the tennis ball in the bucket of the backhoe? Sam had to do something, digging and picking up and moving a tennis ball with precision. Am I correct, Sam? Is that a yes? Anyway, he won first place, and I congratulate you as well, all of you. And Jackie, this might be Jackie's penultimate board meeting because she is retiring in February. I know. But hopefully she'll be here next month. I appreciate you all so very much, and so do our customers. Thank you for all you do. Thank you. Next up, you remember back in October or November, we recognized our commercial fog team, Fats, Oils, and Grease, for a national award, the best program nationally. Now they have also been recognized by the city of Jacksonville with an environmental award. And I'm not sure if they're here, but if you are, would you stand? I didn't think so. So we recognized them for their national award and wanted to make sure you knew that the city also gave them an award. This is pretty cool. Mark Rasos, the manager of our electric meter services department, was elected president of the Electric Council of Northeast Florida. It's a state-recognized organization that has chapters throughout the state, 7 councils, and it's electrical contractors and vendors. So Mark has been participating, and Mark, while I talk about you, would you come forward for me, please? So Mark joined this organization, and in speaking to a lot of these contractors, came up with the idea along with Gerald Donsky. Gerald, where are you? Is Gerald here? Okay, that's okay. He's working. Gerald and Mark developed a program to educate electric contractors on our rules and regulations for electric services and got it approved by the state of Florida for continuing education credits. That is a big deal and was so appreciated by all those contractors. So I wanted to commend Mark. He's one of those unsung heroes that sometimes you don't get to see, and he's doing great work for our community, and I appreciate it very much. One other thing, I want to do a shout out to JEA. JEA has their Executive Masters of Public Policy, And Mark is in that program, and we've had 12 other employees graduate from that. Rick Mullaney started that program at JU some years ago. So Mark is in it, and also Bill Hickey, I think, who is here from our JSEB program. He's also in it in this term, which is wonderful. Next, mutual aid. So our crews, about 40 people, deployed on January the 23rd. We originally went to Santee Cooper, to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. They're a public power utility in the state of South Carolina. They stayed there for a few days until the storm had passed. Utilities don't like to let go of extra workers till you're sure you don't need them. Then they were released from Santee Cooper and they headed to Chattanooga, Tennessee. So there you see at the bottom some pictures from Chattanooga. They have to work a lot behind homes and in rough terrain up there, just the way the electric system is done. And they are doing great work. We're getting great reports from them. And I wanted to also ask if Mr. Morales might speak up. His son, I believe, is in Nashville.
His son's in Nashville, and Saturday during the storm, I guess, or yeah, it was Saturday or Sunday when it really got bad. They had power lines down in front of their house and behind their house were completely trapped and lost power. And it has been harrowing. They were able to go to a friend's house finally and finally got power back last night. But the pictures are devastating. As we're sitting there on a video call, the world of video calls nowadays that we used to just think was future when we go to Disney World as children. But watching the branches fall out of the trees due to the ice and the power lines coming down, it was devastating. We're very fortunate it didn't hit here. We're so thankful for our crews to be able to go up and help our fellow electric companies to recover from this devastating. But it's going to be a few weeks in Nashville. It's bad. Oxford, Mississippi, I believe, also got hit really hard.
Yes, that is one of the wonderful things about public power too, is how we organize through APPA and FMEA to set up mutual aid for our sister agencies. And our guys are in rough conditions. We're not used to ice, like they said on the video, but they're doing a great job and are very safe and will probably be released at the end of the day, and we'll be heading home tomorrow. So once again, I thank those crews, our field crews who are out every day in water, wastewater, DES, and electric are second to none. So thank you very much. That concludes my comments.
Great, thanks, Vicki. Okay, let's go to the JEA performance update with Ted.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. So we'll start with our FY26 corporate scorecard. This is the second time we're showing this to y'all. Has a little bit different look than our scorecard from last year. We'll start in the upper left-hand corner with safety. So I'm honored to report that through the first 3 months of the month, we have had no lost time incidents. So we are below our target and doing great there. On our employee retention, our target is 98%, and we are at 98.1%. So we are meeting that target. Our overall customer satisfaction, our target is 3.89 based upon some new surveys that we're doing. We're just slightly below that at 3.86. And then under customer loyalty, our second metric is first contact resolution. So our target is 78.8%, and we are just above that at 78.9%. Moving down to the lower half in the left-hand corner under business excellence. So you see for the electric system, our days of liquidity are above the target. Our target at 150 days, we're at 156 days. Debt service coverage is at 2.5 times for electric, and we're at over 3.5
times, so that is in great shape. Our debt to asset ratio, our target is 50%. We are at 44%. Remember on this one, a lower number is better. And then on our fixed charge coverage, we are slightly below the target of 1.6 times at 1.43 times, but the first quarter of the month, the first quarter of the year, those first 3 months always are slightly lower sales months. And so we anticipate that number getting to our target of 1.6 before the end of the year. We still have 9 months to go. On the water side, our days of liquidity, our target is 100. We're at just a little over 300. On our debt service coverage, it's 2 times, and we are at 2.68 times. And then the debt to asset ratio, again, the target's 50% or lower, and we are right at about 46%. Moving over to the business excellence. Our first metric on electric reliability, the SAIDI metric, we are meeting our target on this one as well over the first 3 months. As you go down one in technology, our mean time to restore systems, our target's 60, and we are slightly below that, so we are meeting that target. Going up to sewer reliability with SSOs, our target is 0.53, and we are well below that. And then water reliability with the 30 PSI, we are meeting that target as well. So be happy to answer any questions on the scorecard before we move on.
Ted, if you don't mind, I just want to add a couple of clarifications in speaking with you all one-on-one for our board prep. We are going to be adding the bill comparison back into your packets. That's where we compare the all-in bill, so we're going to be adding that back in. We have also, as I mentioned last time we met, found a company to do our employee engagement surveys. So we're going to be bringing them on board very soon. So that will be put in place. And also on our customer loyalty, customer satisfaction, you will be seeing a presentation in the very near future on the questions that we use and how much more in-depth it is than the J.D. Power survey that we discussed before. So the customer service area is putting together those data analytics for you all so that you would know exactly what we're doing there. Thank you, Ted.
Thank you, Vicki.
Ted, just a quick question. Is there a correlation between the fixed charge coverage performance in that metric, versus the weather that we're seeing now? Would we come out sooner because of these colder temperatures, or would that create any delays for us?
So we may well do that. We will have higher sales than anticipated because of this colder weather. Some of that will also be offset by the fact that we are going to be paying more for fuel. Mm-hmm. We will just have to see how it all comes out in the wash.
Thank you.
This will sort of mirror like last year, right, Ted, when we went to that cold spills, I recall?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. All right. I'll move on to the financial update. So for y'all that were at the Finance, Governance, and Audit Committee meeting last week, this will be a rerun. Apologize for that, but so we'll start off with our electric system revenues and expenditures. So again, these are through December 31st. So the first 3 months of the fiscal year. So our sales are up slightly over the same period last year. This was basically due to a little bit warmer fall than we had anticipated. Our fuel rates revenues were up and this was due mainly to higher natural gas prices. Now, last week I told you that we were seeing natural gas prices going down a little bit, and we thought that this may even out. Well, I'm going to backtrack on that a little bit today because we're seeing natural gas prices go back up because of this cold snap. So we will just stay tuned and keep you informed month to month what's going on. And then our other revenues were slightly over. On the O&M side, we were slightly under on our budget to actuals there. Fuel and purchase power, remember that's just a pass-through, so the revenues mirror the expenditures. Our debt service payments were a little bit less than what we had budgeted, and that was really mainly due to the timing of our draws on our revolving credit. We were able to push those out a little bit, so a little less interest payments there. Our capital contributions are right where we thought they would be, and so are our contributions to the city. Our non-fuel purchase power was below budget slightly, and then other expenditures were over budget by about 120,000. The percentage looks really big. The dollars aren't that big, and this was mainly due to drawing less out of our environmental fund. But I will note that on our we did have a deficit for the quarter of about $1.86 million, but that's compared to our plan was a little over $9 million. So I think we're still in good shape. Moving on, you can see our cost per megawatt hour this year compared to last year. We got some really good input in some conversations over the last week or so, and we will be modifying this slide to give more detail, more years on this to show more the trend on these numbers. But as you can see, the first 3 months of FY25 versus FY26, the price was up slightly. But like I said, we're going to give a little bit more detail. Now, remember, the generated power only takes into consideration the fuel cost. The purchase power takes into consideration the fuel and the capacity cost. So a little bit of apples and oranges there. All right, moving. Okay, maybe I've gone too fast. Is there any questions so far? All right, sorry. Moving on, so looking at our O&M budget to actuals this year compared to last year. So this year we had spent about $73 million. Last year, currently we're at about $74 million, very close. Our budget last year was $315 million. This year was $320 million. Right now we're projecting that to be at about $320 million for the year, but still have 9 months for things to happen that we haven't planned for. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then on the capital side, our budget was $430 million for electric. We spent $102 million. Right now we're projecting to be slightly under budget on that. But again, we've got 9 months still. So a lot of unknowns still to come. And here is our cash and investments. As you can see, they went up during the summer as we drew down some on our revolvers. And then, so that is what that dark blue restricted is. And I think we're getting ready to draw on those revolvers again in the next few weeks. But our cash and investments numbers have stayed fairly stable through the last 12 months. And our weighted average yield on investments is slightly above our target at our target being 3.94%, and we're at 4.06%. Moving on to water. So our water sales were just slightly below budget, a little more than 0.5% below what we had anticipated. Our capacity and extension fees were where we had budgeted, but we are keeping a close eye on this. We were a good bit short on these numbers in FY25. And we are seeing that our customer count growth is not growing as fast as we had anticipated. So we may see those capacity and extension fees flip over to red numbers instead of green. But we will keep you posted on that each month. Our investment income was slightly lower than we had anticipated. We have seen a little bit of drop in interest rates, which is not great for our investment income, but is good for our borrowing, and we have lots of borrowing coming up. So that's not a totally bad story. And then our other income is slightly below what we have budgeted. On O&M, we are slightly above budget. About 2% above budget. We are working to get those numbers in line. We've got 9 months to work on that. But one of the drivers of that is Normandy Village. We're going to get a presentation later on the agenda today to talk about that. But the Normandy Village went into receivership after we had completed the budget. So we had not anticipated those expenditures going into the budget. So right now that's about $1.5 million, which makes up that most of that or more than most of that deficit there. Capital contributions, we were very close to what we had targeted there. Again, our debt service costs were lower. This is again due to some timing differences. I think we will catch up on some of those numbers after we get our debt issued. City contribution right where we thought it would be, and then other expenditures were only off by less than $100,000. So for the quarter, our water system was actually running better, also better than we thought we were, with about 2.5% more surplus than anticipated. Any questions? Right. On the O&M budget versus actual. So you can see last year at this time we had spent about $61 million compared to $72 million this year. Our budget last year was $270 million versus $292. We do see we are anticipating to be a little bit higher than budget. Like I said, we were working on those numbers, but one of the biggest driver of that excess is the additional cost of Normandy Village and the things that we're doing out there. On the capital, we have spent $83 million through the first quarter of a $574 million budget. We are projecting that we are going to be under budget on capital. Our projection right now is at $525 million. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Do we get any support from Normandy Village from the state or the feds, or are those expenses entirely our responsibility?
So right now the O&M expenses are entirely our responsibility. We have gotten a grant through, it's a federal pass through the state to us that Mrs. Smalley will and Rob will be going over in a few minutes in the presentation.
Thank you.
And here again is our cash and investment on the water side. We have this is driven mainly by the debt proceeds. And as you can see, as we spend those down, those dark blue numbers go down. And then when we do a draw on our revolver or issue new bonds like we did in January, those numbers go up. So you're going to continue to see this somewhat of a roller coaster effect with our cash and investments. But you will remember back a few months ago, you approved new revolver facilities, and we separated those between water and electric. So that is helping our liquidity. So our liquidity counts those revolvers, but they aren't cash until we draw on them. And so if you remember, our liquidity is over 300 days on the water system. And then our investments are the same as we had on electric. And yes, sir.
For the sake of liquidity, we borrow money.
So we don't actually, it's not considered borrowed money until we draw on so it's like a line of credit, right? So we only pull off of it when we need it. And, but we want to keep, so when we are being looked at by the rating agencies and they are determining our bond ratings, they look at liquidity. They're not looking at as much at cash as they do at liquidity. So that is why we have done those facilities and broke that out. In fact, one of our rating agencies put us on a downgrade watch because of that liquidity number.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Ted.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll go to the consent agenda. And can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passed. Thank you. Okay, next let me hand off to MG for the Finance, Governance, and Audit Committee report.
Thank you, Chairman. The Finance, Governance, and Audit Committee met on January 21st, joined by committee members Worth MacArthur and Kawanza Suarez. Thank you, Worth, for leading the meeting. Appreciation to Board Chair DeSalvo and Vice Chair Morales for joining us. John DeSanto, Managing Director, reviewed the fiscal year 2025 Ernst & Young audit results. John covered new and upcoming accounting and financial reporting standards, areas of emphasis for the audit, and current milestones. Mr. DeSantis reported that there were no areas of concern with the audit. He'll continue working with JEA for the remainder of 2026 in compliance with auditing standards. Jessica Muirhead, EY's Assurance Managing Director, will take over managing JEA's audit work in 2027. Board self-evaluation, Jody Brooks, our Chief Administrative Officer, provided a high-level review of the board's self-evaluation results. All 7 board members had participated in the evaluation. Full evaluation results can be found in the Finance, Governance, and Audit Committee materials. All evaluation scores and comments were highly favorable. Notable areas: board members understand and support JEA's mission and strategic objectives with an average score of 4.9. Board members have a strong working relationship with the CEO, average score 5.0, and noted a comment: the CEO is totally accessible, can have candid conversations. CEO is a great listener. Vicki and her team are top shelf, and I would put an exclamation point on the team being top shelf. Board members actively self-educate and stay current with industry trends. Average score 4.1. Chairman DeSalvo noted that there's continuing education opportunities available. Vicki and the leadership team meet one-on-one with board members, taking the time to answer questions. Quarterly financial review. Ted Phillips, Chief Financial Officer, provided the committee with an in-depth review of JEA's quarterly financials, which we just saw again. And no numbers changed, Ted. That's a good thing. Okay. Our next, the next meeting will be August 17th. And that concludes my report, Chair.
Great, thanks, MG. Any questions at all? Great. Okay, let's move on to the septic tank phase-out update with Elizabeth DeMaio and Greg Cochran.
Thank you, excuse me. Thank you, Chair General DeSalvo, members of the board, and members of the leadership team for the opportunity to present today. I'm Elizabeth DeMaio. I am Senior Manager in the Water, Wastewater, Project Engineering and Construction Department. I've been with JEA for 18 years, and my team is responsible for major capital pipeline improvements, joint agency projects, programs, and special initiatives. JEA and the City of Jacksonville have partnered for more than 25 years on septic tank phase-out efforts. The last major program prior to the current iteration was part of the Better Jacksonville Plan in 2000. Today's presentation will begin with a brief video, followed by a summary of the current septic tank phase-out program and an update on the status on active and upcoming projects. Then Greg Cochran will share an overview on the customer outreach efforts. But before I get started, I'd like to introduce Steve Long. He's Operations Director of Public Works for the City of Jacksonville, who's been instrumental to the success of this program and an excellent partner throughout this effort. Thank you, Steve.
Jacksonville is a city built around its waterways. From the mighty St. Johns River flowing through downtown to the tributaries and creeks flowing through the neighborhoods, water is all around us, and the quality of that water is critical to our community's health and future.
The importance of the septic tank phase-out program revolves around our waterways. There's a lot of impaired waterways where there's high levels of bacteria and fecal coliforms. So these projects are designed to try to help our tributaries.
Jacksonville's septic tank phase-out program began in 2000 with the voter-approved Better Jacksonville Plan, which funded the city's first large-scale septic-to-sewer projects. In 2016, City Council adopted a new ordinance that created a new program funded by the City of Jacksonville and JEA, expanding those early efforts into the comprehensive community-driven initiative we have today. A massive undertaking to eliminate septic tank use from 35 neighborhoods and connect those neighborhoods to JEA's water, wastewater systems.
Many of these folks have been waiting generations for this to happen. Many of these homes have been here for 50, 60 years. So a lot of these folks have been waiting for this their entire lives.
Before work can begin, 70% of the neighborhood must agree to proceed with the project. Once the threshold is reached, the process and design gets underway.
And once the mains are cleared for service, we would be looking at, in this program, that we would be connecting the actual homes themselves. So it also includes septic tank abandonment. So there is on-site work on each individual parcel. So we'll be working with established homes, established neighbors, landscaping, and working to convert the home over to public sewer and the existing septic tank.
Each neighborhood can take years to complete because installing a new sewer system in an existing neighborhood is complex and detailed work.
There's a lot of close coordination, a lot of community outreach, coordination with the neighbors and the contractors to ensure that residents can still maintain their livelihood, get in and out of their homes, and still allow us to do our work.
And even when the sewer installation is complete, the work isn't finished. Crews restore the roads and landscaping for residents, and all of the work done through the project is at no cost to the homeowner. Plus, the homeowners will never have to pump, repair, or replace their septic tank again.
It's not just about getting rid of the septic tanks. It's about also getting new water service. It's about getting new roads. It's about a better quality of life.
JEA, building community.
As you saw in the video, in August of 2016, City Council approved a new ordinance establishing the current septic tank phase-out program. Septic tank failure areas were identified by the Duval County Health Department based on environmental and public health concerns. JEA and the city jointly developed a scoring matrix to prioritize these areas using defined criteria, including environmental impacts, health and welfare considerations, and community factors. Per ordinance, a 70% community participation threshold is required before a project may advance into design and then eventually construction. This ensures neighborhoods are aligned and that public investment is made responsibly and efficiently. JEA manages public outreach, design, and construction for the program with oversight provided by the City of Jacksonville. This prioritization matrix, septic tanks are identified by the Health Department or prioritized using a scoring matrix jointly developed by the City and JEA. The graphic shown depicts a portion of the overall matrix. A printout of the full version is included in your packet for additional detail. The projects highlighted in green are the top tier projects, and those are the ones that we have commenced forward. It's heavily weighed environmental and health and welfare considerations, which account for 70% of the score, ensuring the program focuses first on areas with the greatest public benefit. For instance, areas with failing septic tanks in close proximity to impaired water bodies receives a higher score. Community considerations making up the remaining 30% of the score, which includes items such as providing additional points for neighborhoods in Jacksonville built before consolidation. This prioritization established the sequence for project execution, beginning with Biltmore C and continuing through subsequent neighborhoods. This map shows the locations of septic tank failures areas across Duval County. On the right, you can see the top tier areas from the prioritization matrix, Biltmore C, Beverly Hills, Christabel, and Riverview. Biltmore C was the first area completed under the program. It included 354 parcels with construction completed in fall of 2022. Beverly Hills followed, consisting of 750 parcels with construction completed in fall of 2024. Construction bids for Christabel were received last week, with construction anticipated to begin this spring. This area includes 511 parcels, and the project outreach team will host a community meeting prior to construction. Riverview is next in the queue and is scheduled to enter the design phase this spring with 2,441 parcels. It is significantly larger than previous projects and will be completed in phases, with initial construction anticipated to begin in spring 2028. To date, the program has resulted in the abandonment of 916 septic tanks and the installation of more than 13 miles of gravity sewer, 2.5 miles of sewer force main, 3 sewer pump stations, and 12 miles of new water main. All of this work occurs in established neighborhoods, and it has significant impact on the community, requiring extensive coordination efforts. With that said, I'd like to turn it over to Greg Corcoran to walk through community engagement and outreach efforts that support these projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. And Beth and I have worked together for what, 16, 17 years on septic tank phase out?
Yes.
Thank you, Chair General DeSalvo, members of the board, and the JEA leadership team for this opportunity to be here today to share an update on our community outreach efforts for the septic tank phase out program. I'm Greg Corcoran, Director of Community Engagement and Project Outreach. I've been involved in septic tank phase out efforts here at JEA for over 25 years. First while leading the project outreach team and now overseeing this work at the director level. Some background, the project outreach team is responsible for community engagement and customer communications for all of JEA's water, sewer, and electric projects across our service territory. We took that same outreach model and applied it to the septic tank phase out program, where the team serves as the community facing representative for both JEA and the City of Jacksonville, ensuring consistent, accurate communication and acting as a trusted advisor for our customers throughout the entire process. So without this upfront work, the project outreach team, these projects wouldn't be able to move forward on schedule or with the level of community confidence required. Sorry, let me move this forward. The current approach is designed to build and maintain trust with our customers and the broader community, protect public investment, reduce project risk, and support project delivery. The septic tank phase-out program is a voluntary program driven by the community. Neighborhoods are required to participate, are not required to participate. Projects only move forward if the owners choose to do so. As you heard from Beth, city ordinance requires a 70% participation level. That helps protect public investment and ensures our systems operate efficiently. Participation is formalized through a temporary construction easement which authorizes construction on private property while also protecting both the property owner and JEA. There is no upfront cost to connect, which helps remove any type of financial barrier and encourages equitable participation of customers. They only need to pay their JEA monthly bill. Building on that framework, the team focuses on meeting communities where they are, both physically and in how we communicate. For these projects, a dedicated JEA outreach office has been established at the Bradham Brooks Library that's on Edgewood Avenue. It's within 3 miles of all the current projects. It provides customers with a convenient place to meet with our outreach team. Engagement is continuous, not transactional. The team hosts town halls and regularly participates in HOA and community meetings to provide updates, answer questions, and get our customer feedback. These efforts are supported by a multi-channel communication strategy, which includes emails, mailed notices, many phone calls, and a dedicated project website. In total, property owners typically receive more than a dozen touch points throughout the entire process. Customer outreach happens in a crowded information environment where people are constantly having to sort through news, social media, scams, and competing messages. That's why it often takes multiple touch points and consistent communication for customers to feel comfortable with us and with our program. Participation can also be affected by property ownership and legal issues, including out-of-towners. We've got real estate investment trusts, which can be difficult to get in touch with, or probate or real estate matters. Some owners simply have recently installed new septic systems, and they're just not willing to pay that new JEA bill. Physical on-site constraints, such as septic tanks. We found some of those underneath structures and underneath homes. That has to be resolved before we move forward. Private roads add another layer of complexity because every affected property owner on that private road has to be involved, so that can be sometimes an issue. But we found when we can talk directly with each individual property owner, especially if it's in person, we're usually able to walk them through the program and gain their support. So this is a long duration program that relies on consistent communication. The process begins with multiple community-wide meetings, as you can see in the photo up there, followed by an extended education period tailored to each individual neighborhood. A 6-month community decision period allows property owners time to review information, consult advisors, and make more informed decisions. One-on-one engagement continues throughout this entire process, and once participation thresholds are met, projects move into a multi-year design and bid phase. That's followed by construction that can typically last several years. That's usually depending on the size and the complexity of the project. Ongoing communication by the project outreach team remains essential through construction completion to manage expectations and to address any issues that arise as a part of construction.
Hey, Greg.
Yes.
Who initiates the community meetings?
JEA does. So the project outreach team will send out invitations in the mail. We'll send emails, we'll send postcards. We also invite the city and the city council members to attend as well. Sure.
Just, go ahead, John.
Can you explain to me I understand the 70%, but it looks like there's a lot of non-participation, like for instance, at Christabel, it's 399 out of 511 properties. Do they have the people, can they just say no?
So like we said, it's a community decision. Each community gets to make that decision for themselves. So each property owner basically gets a vote. There's a lot of different things that can go into why each individual customer does not get involved. What we've normally found is if we can't get a hold of the customer, that's usually the biggest issue. If you just have property owners that aren't paying attention to what's going on, not checking their mail, don't have a contact phone number. You also move on to folks that maybe have a properly functioning septic tank, or they have a septic tank that they just installed. If you just installed a $20,000 septic tank, the likelihood of you wanting to then connect to the system and then pay a JEA monthly bill is low. So they're kind of invested at that point. We also have issues with folks that have some issues with their current septic tank where it's located. So let's say that the septic tank is located underneath the home. We actually found a septic tank that was in the middle of someone's living room. So they have to rectify that before we can assist with that because we can't take on that liability.
So once you get to 70%, they still have the ability to opt out.
Yes, so the customers so once we get to the 70%, that means that the project is going to move forward to design and construction. The folks that did not sign up for the program are still eligible to connect, and we often see that. And if you look at the percentages up there, we'll get to that 70%. And as we move through to construction and following construction, especially when they see the good work our contractor and our teams are doing, connecting folks and people start talking to each other, we'll continue to connect people once the construction's complete, and we continue to do so. So a lot of people pile on after because it almost sounds too good to be true, right? No cost to connect. You know, in this environment, people don't trust everything. So trust is really big with with the project outreach team. That's why we have to earn their trust through multiple meetings. Meeting with them one-on-one is such an important part. If the team members can get them one-on-one, we can most likely get them signed up. They just need to understand better, all the different things that go along with the program. But the biggest thing is all they have to do, they don't have to pay for any of the work on private property. That's a change with this new program, different from the Better Jacksonville plan, that the city has paid for the work on private property. So it's just your bill. It's not different than any other customer's bill, same bill that everyone else gets.
Thank you.
Sure.
So I'm sure there are lots of situations, like you mentioned, one's under a living room, which
Yes.
is probably rare, but I'm sure it's very common that the septic tanks are in the backyard and you're trying to get everything back to the front yard, I would imagine.
Absolutely. So most of these homes in the areas that we're working in Northwest Jacksonville, they're the similar type homes, similar era, post-Vietnam War era type brick homes, cedar cinder block homes. The septic tanks are in the rear. So we have to do what's called a reversal. What they'll do is they'll pump out the septic tank, they'll crush it, they'll fill it full of clean sand. That's an abandonment. And then they'll run brand new from the street all the way to where that connection point is into the home for connection. So essentially they have an entire new sewer system that's going to work for them for 50 years or more. So and also that sewer line is also warranted for a year. So it's a real benefit to the homeowner.
You mentioned also a lot of new water lines.
Yes.
Are we just taking advantage since we've got an open cut that we're installing new water lines, or are we adding to our water system?
So great question. Some project areas already have water lines, but within those projects, there may be people that are still on wells as well. We want them to connect to the water service. Obviously, our water service is beneficial to the customer, but also it's how we charge for sewer.
Right.
So as part of the program, you connect to water as well. There are project areas where we've installed water as part of the program. JEA pays for that installation. So it's an advantage of having these projects in these areas is we are basically rebuilding these neighborhoods from the ground up while people are living there, which is such an advantage to everyone. It rebuilds, it changes the face of these communities.
Thank you.
Sure.
That's difficult.
Chairman, have you had any of the targeted communities not get to 70%?
We have not. So what you're seeing up there on the screen are the current projects in the current program. There were certainly some in the Better Jacksonville plan, but these are the ones that we've been working on since 2016. You can see that we have, as time moves on, the percentages get higher because, like I said, people are interested in it. So our goal is to never pass a community without getting that 70%. It's incredible in this time and age to have anybody agree on anything. Well, you got 89, 93%. So this is a very popular program. And we just see this continuing to be of benefit. So you see Riverview's at 70%, but we're going to get much higher than that. That's just where we've hit the 70%. We're kind of here today to celebrate that. the design can start, but we're going to have those numbers well above that when we get there. That's a very engaged community. I would assume that we will get in high percentages when we get there.
Greg, is there any savings as you get a higher percentage of participation? As you get more of a neighborhood, does that per connection lower that? And I'm trying to think, looking at the larger spreadsheet, you flatten out the cost per unit for future projects. I expect that number will go up with the cost of construction, but can you talk to the level of participation, what it means to the cost of the project?
Sure, and I'll probably turn this over to Beth. She's the numbers lady. I'm the outreach guy, but in general, the footprints are outlined by the Duval County Health Department, so we stay within that same footprint. Obviously, when we have more folks connect, that's more people on the system. That also benefits the system. The 70% isn't just for making sure that we're making a good investment. You don't want to put in a sewer system and no one connects to it. Right? That doesn't make sense for the city or for anyone else. It also makes sure that our system works properly. You need a certain amount of sewage flowing through those lines. You need enough people using those water lines. So the 70% gets us to where it's operational. As far as the cost, certainly the more people we connect, the average cost would go down. But there is I mean, as far as the bid is what we would probably be talking about. So I'll defer to Beth on that part.
Right. As far as we have an average cost for each parcel of the overall amount of, infrastructure that would be required to service that community. If we get to 70% and only 70% end up connecting, we still have to, that investment still upfront has to be made. However, like I said, we just received bids on Christabel. They came in under estimate, so which is a good thing. So we are working on, looking at what does that fall out. I mean, it's not, half the price of what we were estimating, but there is some savings. So it will help, from the program itself. So when we go to Riverview, as far as the technology and things, we're trying to look at what's most cost effective to be able to serve the community. There are different sewer type systems that can be installed. So we are looking at that as well, trying to find out what's most efficient, what's best from an operations and maintenance, and then ultimately what's best for the community as far as capital investment.
General, are these four fully funded? Because I know the city council, in my time on the council, has put some money into the budget. And so, number one, are they fully funded? And number two, when will you start on the fifth neighborhood, and how will that be funded?
Go ahead. As far as the city funding, I'd like to defer that question to Steve Long with City of Jacksonville Public Works.
Are these four fully funded, though, first of all?
Christabel is fully funded. Riverview is fully funded to a point, and then we have gotten commitment from the city. If Steve, would you like to chime in as far as, moving forward with the full, complete Riverview neighborhood, the 2,400 parcels?
Yes, sir. Steve Long, Public Works. Thank you for having me here, through the chair to all the committee. Right now, like she said, the first two are completed. Christabel is completely funded. Riverview, the plan is for it to be fully funded before any of the construction per phase starts. So as we've been going through some preliminary talks with JEA, they're looking at potentially building it through 4 separate phases because of the size. When you look at it with the 2441 properties, it's 4 times to 5 times larger than any of the others we've done. So as each one of those phases starts, before it starts, the funding that is planned into the future will cover those costs. And then as we get to a point where we're far enough along within Riverview with design, within construction, Greg's team will start that next outreach onto the 5th neighborhood. So yes, sir, the funding, while not in the actual account today, is planned into the actual budget for the city of Jacksonville.
Are you anticipating dollars in the 26-27 budget or 27? Has that been worked out? Which years going forward you anticipate asking for dollars?
Yes, sir. And right now there's a line item for water, wastewater construction in the city's budget. And that's funded out through, the 5-year CIP. And it's actually anticipated that in the upcoming budget sequence, so as we go into July, August, September, that the mayor will actually be requesting additional dollars to increase that commitment that the city has for the program for each of the next 5 years.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I'll move on. So that was a good segue that Steve had brought up. Riverview shows how far the program has scaled. So if you look at all of the total properties, with 2,441 properties, it's nearly 50% larger than our first 3 projects combined, which significantly increased both the complexity and the outreach needs, and obviously the amount of work that's going to go on. So we talk about future projects. People always want to know when the next project is. Essentially, if you look at Riverview, it's 4 to 6 projects in one, if you look at the other sizes. So we're going to be at Riverview for a good amount of time, but it's going to be that entire peninsula is going to be changed for the future. So it's going to be really great. The people are very excited. Everyone out there is. We just attended a meeting 2 weeks ago. Lisa Jennings did the manager of Project Outreach, and they're very excited about the reaching that 70%. Moving on, the work doesn't stop. I had mentioned this, at 70% is reached or when construction is complete. The team continues to circle back. We'll continue to go back to these areas, Biltmore, Beverly Hills, and Christabel, to try to contact maybe new property owners or people that have changed their mind. Now, at some point, the city will let us know when that point is, that we will be sending letters to folks to let them know they have a year to connect. And after that point, they would have to pay for it themselves. So there is a time coming where that payment would no longer, for the connecting to the system would happen. So kind of wrapping things up here, overall, these results reflect a proven, repeatable outreach model. You can see how we continue to scale. That continues as project size, scope, and complexity increase. So as we close, I'd like to take the time to recognize the Project Outreach team for their outstanding work on this program, especially for their recent success in the Riverview project. This slide highlights a few of the outreach metrics that demonstrate the level of effort required, and there's a lot of it. I've watched this team work very hard to get to where we are a full year ahead of schedule. So I'd like to ask the team to stand and be recognized. Manager Lisa Jennings, team members Damani Barrow, Krista Roma, Leslie Nelson, Jordan Royston, and Scott Vigliotti. Awesome job, guys. So thank you for your time, board members. If you have any questions, I'd be open to additional questions.
Is there any estimate of how long it's going to take to do all the critical projects?
Mr. Mayo.
Is that a fun thing?
Not in our lifetime.
That's about the correct answer, not within our lifetime. The impaired water bodies, the original map that I had showed all of Duval County, those are failing septic tank areas as indicated by the health department. So those impact water bodies. Most of them, if you kind of study the map, they're all adjacent to tributaries, streams that all make their, or, other smaller rivers like the Trout River that make their way to the St. Johns. So, we need an endless supply of money and we could be working on them, but I don't think, it'll take time unless there's like a large infusion of consistent, hundreds of millions of dollars. It'd be very challenging, but we're going to keep working towards it with the city to be able to get them phased out as we can.
And I think what's important, noting that we're taking care of the ones that are having the biggest issues first. So there may be other septic tanks out there. Remember, septic tanks that work properly are fine. There's not an issue with those. It's those that are failing and the ones where people can't flush their toilets and can't take care of their sewage. So taking care of the worst, well, at least that's the best thing we can do, is go out there, go through the matrix does a good job of walking through and making sure that we're taking care of those folks that need to be connected first.
Great. Okay, thanks, Beth. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll do the Normandy Village Utility System update with Rob and Jamie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A while back, if you remember, we received the Normandy utilities. It was September 5th of last year when we became the steward of the utility. Just as a brief reminder, the Normandy Utilities is about 1,400 customers. It's located on 4-acre road between Normandy and Wilson Boulevard. And we received this probably, I guess that's 5 or 6 months ago. And we've been diligently working on that system ever since. Oh, there we go. So we've done a lot of work, probably more than I can discuss today, but I'll try and just touch on the high points. Our customer outreach group has done a tremendous job working with those customers. We kicked off with a town hall meeting September 25th, which went extremely well. We were welcomed with open arms. And as we worked through and heard all their concerns and problems, we've kind of continued. We've reached out to them one-on-one. We've also opened another office. The new office is located on Normandy Boulevard as well. And we've sent out water conservation kits to each homeowner to help them conserve and reduce their water bills. And this is a continuing effort. It wasn't like we came in and just did our public outreach and we're done. We do have another town hall meeting. Probably will be in late spring time to kind of update those customers and keep them involved in everything that's going on in their neighborhood. Some of the other changes that those customers have seen has been a new bill. They used to receive a handwritten bill. They now get an electronic bill, which explains. They used to get a written bill with the amount they owed. They now get their usage. They get the time at which the meters were read. There was previous reports of meters weren't even being read. So for us, this is not just about operating the utility. It's about communicating with the community. We've done an extreme amount of work as far as spending the time to explain the transition for them. The new office that I mentioned that's located at 5119 Normandy Boulevard. If you ever had an opportunity to visit the old office, it was pretty much a closet. You walked in, there was a glass window, you paid, and you had to leave. The new office does have conference rooms where people can come in, they can sit, have privacy with our customer advisors. They can meet and discuss their bills and their issues one-on-one in private. So the whole idea was to create a space that's more inviting for those folks to come and they have somewhere that they can actually come and talk. You can see some of the photos online there on the slide, excuse me. Even the storefront, we've moved this whole entire office to a safer location. So for everybody's benefit. Operationally, we made some initial improvements right out of the gate. We basically temporarily closed down their water plant. Excuse me. And we interconnected that water system into our grid. So it's now interconnected at multiple locations for us to provide service. We also went in and did a lot of the initial repairs, replaced most of the panels and motors at the wastewater plant to increase reliability. And I'm happy to say we have almost eliminated all the compliance issues. So we've been running pretty much, they've had a dramatic change in environmental compliance and public service. So we haven't had a significant boil water notice, knock on wood. I thought I wasn't going to say that because I don't want to jinx us, but we've had significant improvements throughout. But those were the quick, easy victories and what we have in front of us. We can't easily connect that wastewater facility. There's a lot of I&I, and you can see those under the future goals on the slides, interconnecting the wastewater facility, doing a full set condition assessment of the entire gravity system and repairing all the old manhills. That is really going to be a significant undertaking. But to discuss how we're going to pay for that, Ms. Janie Smalley is here today, so I'll hand that off.
Thank you, Rob. Good morning. I'm Janie Smalley, Grants Manager for JEA, and I'm glad to be back to share some important news with you. I'm pleased to announce a $20 million grant award for Normandy Village Utilities wastewater system. This investment will fund critical infrastructure repairs and system upgrades that are essential for reliability, public health, and long-term service to our community. This funding allows us to address urgent needs today while delivering lasting value for decades to come. Before discussing the grant in more detail, it's important to provide some context. In July of last year, following Normandy Village Utilities filing for abandonment and the court's appointment of JEA as receiver, the grants team immediately began identifying funding opportunities to stabilize and restore the utility. We quickly identified a strong opportunity through the federally funded Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program, which is administered by Florida Commerce. Securing this $20 million grant was not the result of a single application. It was the outcome of intentional relationship building and sustained collaboration with the funding agency. From the earliest stages, JEA staff engaged in open dialogue with agency representatives, shared transparent information about system conditions, and sought guidance to ensure the project aligned with program priorities. This partnership allowed us to refine the scope, strengthen the application, and demonstrate our readiness and capacity to successfully deliver this project. The funding agency's confidence in JEA's leadership, planning, and accountability was a critical factor in securing this award. From a financial standpoint, the project reflects strong stewardship of public resources. By fully leveraging grant funding, we are making a significant capital investment without placing any additional burden on our customers. The return on investment is significant. This grant allows us to avoid $20 million in bond financing, resulting in an estimated savings of approximately $1.3 million annually over 30 years. The benefits of this investment extend well beyond the infrastructure itself. Residents and businesses will experience improved service reliability and reduced disruptions. Upgraded and rehabilitated assets significantly lower environmental risks, helping protect waterways and surrounding ecosystems. Most importantly, this project supports public health, environmental stewardship, and overall quality of life. It reinforces our commitment to providing safe, reliable wastewater services while responsibly managing critical infrastructure. The project will advance through clearly defined phases, beginning with grant authorization and an environmental review, followed by procurement, design, and construction. Each phase includes built-in oversight, reporting, and compliance measures. Accountability is a cornerstone of this effort. We will maintain transparent reporting, meet all grant requirements, and coordinate closely with funding and regulatory agencies throughout the life of the project to ensure it remains on schedule, within scope, and fully compliant. In closing, we would like to thank Governor Ron DeSantis, Secretary Kelly, Florida Commerce, and our local elected officials for their support and partnership. I am also grateful for the dedication and collaboration of JEA staff, leadership, and agency partners whose expertise helped secure this grant. This $20 million award represents a major step forward for NVU's wastewater infrastructure and for our community. We look forward to delivering a successful project that provides lasting value for years to come. Thank you.
Is there any?
Okay, Janie, just so I've got it, so the grant that was awarded, it actually is on hand or is it incoming?
Oh, it's incoming. Part of the timeline is to do a lot of administrative work before we get the agreement.
Okay, and it's a state grant, so if we go into the government shutdown mode again by Friday, that won't have any, will that have any impact on the processing of this grant?
That will not have any impact. It's already been appropriated to the state of Florida.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Janie, what percent of the project is the 20 million cover?
We wrote a project for $20 million. Beyond that, in addition to the wastewater system, I'll let Rob speak to that.
So our original estimate was in the $25 million range for all the repairs. So you're looking at a substantial chunk of the work.
Thank you.
You mentioned earlier, the meters and so forth. I imagine these are not electronic meters like the rest of the JEA system.
That is correct. We manually read the meter still.
So I guess that's another cost of upgrade at some point.
Yes, it is.
All right. That's what I thought. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Jeannie. Okay, is there any other new business for discussion? Okay. Chair's report, I do have one. First, I'd like to offer a brief overall assessment based on three things that transpired since we last met: the annual disclosure report, the Ernst & Young external audit, and the board self-evaluation, recognizing some of this was already covered with MG Ornder's Finance, Governance, and Audit Committee report. JEA enters 2026 with strong financial performance, sound governance practices, and a clean external audit opinion, while continuing to manage cost pressures, capital intensity, and regulatory complexity. Financial metrics of both electric and water systems remain at or above board-approved targets, and no material audit or internal control issues were identified. With respect to the board self-evaluation, just want to emphasize again the key strengths. There's a clear understanding of roles and responsibilities among the board members, effective oversight of financial reporting and strategy, strong relationship with the executive leadership, and high-quality meeting materials and preparation. On the improvement side, again, remain focused on continued education and process refinement. Key risk and considerations for the board for 2026. Several of them. One, the ongoing exposure to any energy market volatility and fuel price risk, which we talked about earlier. Rising capital and operating costs due to inflation and regulatory requirements. Long-term debt and capital commitments remain manageable, but will require continued discipline. And weather variability continues to affect demand and revenue stability. On the outlook, JEA remains financially stable, operationally resilient, and well-governed. Management is effectively balancing affordability, infrastructure investment, and regulatory compliance. As a board, we must continue to exercise diligent fiduciary oversight, relevant policy guidance, and innovative strategic direction. This concludes my report. Any questions or comments? Okay, and we mentioned it earlier, but again, just so I don't overlook it, Jackie Shield, again, thanks for your great service with us. I think you're here next month, but we don't know for sure, but thanks. Okay, the next board meeting will be February 24th, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Just don't